Today I wanted to walk through the wonderful exhibition by Central Florida Watercolor Society in their upcoming show. And each piece I would like to say a little bit about it. I'm not going to mention the artist's name because I can't see it. I tried to take away the name in case I might recognize the name, and so there's no bias. And what I'll do is just give you the title of the piece and tell you what I think. So the first piece I'm looking at is entitled Awaiting Evening's Pleasure. It's a watercolor, fairly traditional watercolor with nice techniques. It's nicely done, great composition, and I like the grade and color shaded background. And so it's a nice piece. The only thing I would do different probably is look for ways of making it interesting, maybe crop it differently. So when I look at a painting, I look at it for a couple different possible purposes. One is, what would a painting, is this one I would put in my house or in my office or display? Or is it one that I really want to make a statement and I have something to say? Sometimes statement paintings aren't those that you put in shows or particularly put on a wall. So this painting is traditional. I like it and it's nicely done. The next one is called The Garden Hour. I really like this because of the beautiful colors that were used. It looks like a very small palette was used into the blues and the purples, and by using those cold colors, this shirt, which is very warm yellow, stands out and is the focal point. So a lot of ways you can drive attention, through shapes, repetition, and shading and values. This one you draw attention and tell the story through the changes of hot and warm and cold colors. So you have an orange color. I like the way the umbrellas go off the page, not trying to center it, and just enough information in the background that there are people sitting there. So it's a nice casual piece. It's called The Golden Hour, and there is a golden shirt. The next piece is called Max Checked. And my guess is this is Max himself giving a full look at the photographer. My guess is this is taken from a photograph. The couch is checked and it's beautifully done. A lot of detail, but just not too much detail. So if you look really close, it doesn't look like extremely detailed, but it's just enough detail as you step back. It looks like a beautifully tough couch. Now the cat is nicely done. I like the way you protected your whites, and there's nice contrast. The eyes are extremely well done. The only thing I would probably watch for is you establish kind of the black darks and browns, and you went to the blue on the tail. And I think if maybe tone the blue down a little bit, because it's not anywhere in any other shadows, unless it's a blue cat. It's a nice painting, beautifully done. Congratulations. This one's very interesting. It's called Judy Hair Today. I guess it's Hair Today or something tomorrow, whatever. This is a nice use of color. It almost has a gouache feel to it in that the colors are very intense. Gouache, you can get these colors like this and still have almost a charcoal flavor to it. Composition's nice. I'm sure there's a lot going on, and there's probably a story behind this, but I do like the color. I like the contrast. The values are spot on. I like that the way you use these turquoise or the blues down here in this dark area, which help drive the composition. So nicely done. The next piece is called Judy Pineapple, or is it Pineapple? I guess the course, his name is Judy in the title. But anyway, this is, I like the way it's done. It's almost done with an airbrush or atomizer, where you get that nice spray and soft edges, a little bit of splatter on there. And that splatter and a little bit of this spray helps soften the edges, which I like a lot. The colors are beautiful. I love the cool colors. Instead of just using greens, put in some other cool colors in with the greenery at the top of the pineapple. The dark area of the pineapple is nicely done by using probably a little bit of violet with that yellow. When you put those two together, it makes a really nice brown. Nicely done, beautiful piece. This piece is looks like it's on Yupo. Really nice. I like it a lot. Composition's beautiful. Yupo is one of those that you either can do or you can't. Takes a lot of practice. Some people get it right away. The composition is nice. I like the repetition of these lines of the trees. You really highlighted those, and then the line of the fence. So the real focus here is, by the way, the name of it is Yellow Dog's Back Door. And I'm not sure who Yellow Dog is, but the center and everything is pointing over to this area here, which my guess is the black door. But beautiful piece, nicely done. This next one is called Afterglow. And it really is a very glowful piece. I really like it. I like the softness of the clouds. In a nice, probably a beautiful layered piece. A little bit of action, almost using kind of putting a few blooms in here. You know, using blooms are very, very difficult to do, and maybe put in a couple of spots of water in there, splattered it in there. So it's a nice piece. I love these colors against these oranges and these cools and warms in the sky. These are very difficult to pull off because sometimes you use your yellows and they get too close to your blues, you end up with greens. But it looks like the artist knew that and did a nice job on that. It's really nicely done. Only thing I would have done a little bit different is probably these rocks are way too defined. I think the real story is here. So you could almost maybe have cropped it, crop out some of that. But that's my version. So it's just another one of those opinions, right? The next one is called Leaning into the Flow. This is a beautiful piece. It's almost like a scientific painting you sometimes see with some of the detail, except it's not, because of this beautiful tan background, and it moves into so beautifully into this blue, this Persian blue. It's just beautiful. And the leaves, the great values. I like the dark leaf. And it doesn't look like it's been posed. Sometimes you see these and they'll put it right in the middle of the paper. This is off to the left. I like leaving this space. So it's just really a nice piece. The next one is called Droop. And we know why it's called Droop is because of the droopy sunflowers. My guess this is taken from an actual sunflower. I like the way this big, huge sunflower with that big stem. It's almost like, did you have room for all those stems in here? These colors are just beautiful, the way they have allowed to mix on the paper. A lot of this mixing happened on the paper, not on your palette. I like that. And then for texture, using blooms for texture, that's really nicely done. Very difficult to pull off. And also the dark corner and the light cold top right. You look at these two, it's beautifully done, nice contrast, and it makes for a beautiful composition. And we go to Afternoon Stretch, and I like this. It's a little bit busy, somewhat. When you first look at it, it takes a little bit of time to realize what you're looking at. And you can tell that these bats are taking a rest in the evening. I don't know what time it is. It's definitely not dark, or they wouldn't be there. So the background, let me talk a little bit about that. I really like the subdued black background and those texture. It's just beautiful. So overall, it's just a superb painting. It's one that the background takes over a little bit of this. I always think of shapes, this shape here. But I like the way these shapes have been put in place, and it really brings you to the central story is this shape here, which is also a bat. And these colors are just gorgeous. You could have taken, I've seen people do these and they're all brown, never taking any license or any risk whatsoever. So really nicely done. The next one's called Cherries for Breakfast, and we know why. This guy is eating cherries for breakfast. Nicely done. I like that nice tone background. Took your time and just let it just soak in. Beautifully done. The lighter leaves as you go out. And of course, there's this beautiful red, almost looks like a cardinal, but so nice the way this picks up these various tones and colors and shades of red in the cherries. And you broke up the stems or the branches. I like the way those shapes are broken up. Beautifully done. It's a very nice piece. The next one's called Dora Canal. And it's the name of a bird. I'm just not a bird person, so I don't know what kind of bird this is. All I can tell you is I absolutely love this beautiful texture that you created. At first, I wasn't sure. Maybe you used some sort of relief and put in maybe looks like various lines, but the way you maybe have lifted these out and left that nice dark space, it's just a beautiful piece. Like the flow of things, the bird, everything is just beautifully done. It's really one of those setting paintings where it's all of it works together toward its central person or central subject. Beautifully done. I love it. The next one is called It's a Long Way Home. I looked at this a couple times, kept looking at it, and it gets your attention. You've taken a couple nice risks on this. I like that, where this shape here is how it moves from these various values and shades. Look at that, it's just beautiful, which forms this line across here. And then it's up against the two birds who are walking on their way home. They're not just two birds, they also have beautiful shadows, which makes, anytime you put shadows on things and use these colors, you increase the drama. And this really, I don't know why two birds would be, that's why it caught my attention, create so much drama in my thought. And then this beautifully done background, which helps coordinate and put these colors together. So it's really a nice composition, a nice piece. And it is a long way home. The next piece is Over Armor. This is really a beautiful piece with the background, these colors, and the risk you took on the shades. This is not a conventional color that you would use on flesh tones, almost orangey. And you can see this orange gives us a feeling of a strong light source, an orange light source coming from this direction. And then this would not have worked, this composition would not have worked without this building or box or whatever it might be. It doesn't really matter. I just like the shape. And then, so you look at this nice, beautiful shape in between here. And then he's got earbuds, a couple nice lines. That probably could have been left out a little bit. Too much detail, but that's just me. And even the shoelaces, which are fine. I just like the shape of things. This is a really beautiful orchestrated painting and the beautiful shapes. The next one's called Poppy Explosion. This is a beautiful, a little bit traditional in that the way we let those beautiful colors blend. In this nice line between these beautiful colors, now turning very cold to greens and darks. So this line gives a nice contrast. And the flow of the soft line, it's a line that's soft, just beautiful. That's what makes this painting, this S sign. Excuse me. Nicely done, poppy explosion. Amsterdam stone wall. And you first look at this, what I like about it is I don't know it's a wall, which I like because it's just a beautiful, it almost could be an abstract in the way the shapes work together and the colors. This area over here is just a little bit darker with the shadows. And then as you come down here, you get this beautiful granite type stone. And the way you've captured, and you didn't overdo those textures, just enough to let me know this is interesting stone. This is really a beautiful piece. I like it. Well done. This is a French doorway, and look at these colors. You got these beautiful turquoise doors, this blue violet inlay, and the windows, and then you have these dark shadow, a little bit of color up here with some sort of floral, and then I'm sure this is taken from your vacation, but it's a nice piece. I like this shape. I'm always looking at the shape. I love this shape right here. See that? With the shadow cast on the door. It makes for a nice, pleasant piece, and so it's really nicely done. This is Pompeii frozen in time, and this one is eerie in a way, and it's meant to be that way. You have this strong contrast here, this dark background. This is not a black background, it's got texture, which suggests they're in a cave or in a dark area. And then it really, this gentleman here is very eerie, beautifully balanced off to the left. And then you have this attention over here. And I like these trapped or captured spaces here. Lines. You took your time to soften some of them and really paid attention. And it's not overly painted. It's not too much detail. It's loose. So it's a beautiful piece. The only thing I don't like about it is that signature is really big. It goes into play with the painting. So you have to be careful about that because I just keep wanting to go over and look at this shape here. But, for every person who likes a signature like this, another person doesn't like it. So it's just, for me, it was a little distracting. Next one is Pompeii through ancient arches. And I can tell by the name here, which is a little bit smaller, is the same artist. This is really a value study. You go from these grays and you start with this green. Green means life. So as you go into this, you can see that it gets darker and the browns become more predominant. So life, if I were thinking about a storytelling, life as you go in, it's a dungeon and becomes less life. These shapes are beautiful with the shadow casting. Not overdone, somewhat loose, and then these little two steps. Those two steps are just enough to give it an added dimension, and this arch here over the wall. So this opening takes you down and then leads you right into it. So that's really a nice piece. This is an advanced painter probably, just because of the use of color, the way they took their time and protected the white. I don't know if they use masking or not. It's very possible. But what I like about it is this beautiful wash in the background. Watercolor painters a lot of times will paint beautiful things like this and end up with what I call subpar backgrounds that are half done. So if you do something like this blooming cactus, it's called Sun Worshipper, this blooming cactus with these greens, and then it goes into these reds. It's just beautiful. And then this nice background of blue, which is a complement of the orange. So that's a really nice piece. Great job. This one, again, is a nice piece. Again, these lines are protecting the whites, and nicely done. This one is called Blooming Cactus, another one I think by the same artist. Again, look at these beautiful background going from this deep, almost maroon blue, going just like a rainbow right across the background into the yellow, which gives a beautiful contrast or supporting role to these beautiful flowers. I like the flowers on the cactus. They're not overly done. This cactus could have been painted green, but it was painted a blue color. And so it's just a really nice, pleasing piece. Never Forget is the name of this one. This is one you have to take a minute and look at and allow your eyes to adjust because of the darkness of it. But as you adjust it, you begin to see things, and maybe things that the artist intended or didn't intend, but you know, it's almost the shape of a skull here with eyes. This is one of those that's with these shapes, you begin to draw kind of your own conclusion of what it's saying and what the stories are. It's beautifully done. It's a beautiful piece. I really like it. This one is called The Dance, and this one, just look at these beautiful softness on these edges on the bottom of these flowers. These are, looks like they're probably a dandelion, almost look like a dandelion. We didn't go with the traditional green, and the blue really blends well with this nice and beautiful dust that's falling that you created with your wash. Nicely done. This one's called Illuminated Forest. Look at the beautiful shadows. Great use of knowing how to paint limbs. A lot of people don't really aren't able to paint what they see. They tend to, I just say they mess up these trees. Wherever there is a bend, another branch comes off of it. So there's always a bend at where another branch comes off of it. It's a nice piece. I like this subtle grays here in the background and blues. This one is called Mast and Rigging. It looks from a distance almost like a photograph. This is really a story of lines, created with ropes, and of course the mast is off center to the left, which gives you that nice open space here on the right. I love this texture by wrapping this rope around, or at least capturing it. It was probably already on the photograph. You know, it's kind of like, well, just a discovery. You look up and say, "Ooh, that's an interesting bunch of shapes." You take your picture, you get something beautiful like this. Nicely done. This one's called the Monarch. Obvious reason, it's a monarch. These are, excuse me, take a little drink, see if it'll help my voice. So the tones and colors of these are a little bit muted. It's almost a pastel-ish look to it. The Monarch, which is a very colorful butterfly, you know, it's almost absorbed into this design. This would almost reminds me of a nice design you would put on furniture or fabric. Just a beautiful repetition. Taking your time at all this negative painting that had to be done in between all this, a nice piece. So all in all, it was it's not one that is supposed to be one that just says, let me throw a butterfly at you and make it colorful. This is one that the artist purposely set this in place to be part of the pattern and part of the shapes. Nicely done. So this next piece is very bright. It's called Spring Sugar Mill. I think I've been there, maybe. But I've seen pictures. This is a very fanciful type of a painting with the use of lots of different colors, beautiful flow. The trees and all this nice, beautiful line across it just made for a beautiful shape. I like the way the artist set this building on the upper left. You know, the rule of thirds is definitely looked at, which makes the center or the focus point this wheel. Everything's pointing toward this wheel, lines, everything is beautifully done. Some of the areas I think I'd like to see improvements on, particularly this painting, is that hard line across here. If this is a photograph, you might look and see, is that a hard line? And then this area of the building got a little dirty pretty quick. You got all these beautiful colors, and then I think what happened, you put maybe put yellow and added some violet to it, which turns it to kind of a muddy brown. It can be used effectively, I think, if you come back with a wash over this and just cooled it off. I mean, warmed it up just a little bit with maybe a little touch of red. It would have maybe fit better. But anyway, it's a nice piece. These floral areas just perfectly done. This it's almost looks like it's done with a sponge, and it's just a nice piece. Proud of that. Should be proud of it. Nice piece. This is called A Day on the River, and this one I like a little more like these lines across here, a little more natural. I would like to have seen them broken up just a little bit. But look how beautiful this V, two V's coming together, intersecting about along here. And then you have this palm tree going across. It probably is from a photograph, but taking the photograph, you have the eye for composition. If it's not a photograph, that's fine. And I like the way you left the whites, beautifully done. So the next one is called St. Lawrence Sunset, and it's a very interesting work in that you have this very strong yellow right across here, strong attention, and then you have this texture of the sky and texture of the rock. So it's really color-wise a nice painting. Technique-wise, probably need a little more technique. There's a few things that with a little work could work. It looks like the artist wasn't really sure what to do with this area here. But it is a nice piece. Should be proud of that piece. Next is called Fancy Forest, and it is a fancy forest. I really like it. I like it must maybe has some mascot on it. There's placed on there, or protected it, or it could be almost, can't see it real close, could be some salt. But these two strong trees supported by a few small trees. But look at this beautiful color selection. And these colors, when you place them on a painting, are hard to pull off, especially you go with this yellow-green. It always dominates. And what you do, you subdue it a little bit with the pinks and the grays, and end up with a nice piece for it that came out of it. So let's do lunch with an alligator. I'm glad to see that you move the alligator to the upper right, more that way. It's really a nice piece, very difficult to do. You took your time. I'm not sure how you drew it, but that would take some time. What I want to draw your attention to, and everybody, is the water. How nice the waves and soft the water is. Probably wet on wet, lots of wet on wet to give you that effect. And it's one of those things that when you do these wet on wet type of waves, you really have only one chance. It's not something you can come back and fix. You have basically one chance. Great eye, great texture, beautiful job. Thank you for doing that. This one I looked at quite a bit. I really like the composition, and it's definitely a painting called Storytelling. So here you have a child. Not sure if they're playing the bass, because like a bass, not sure if, probably the size, but there's activity, maybe people dancing or something going on here. And then This boy is looking in and watching, and behind the fence, it creates kind of a suspense, like, I wonder what's going on behind here. You know there's something, there's people, and you think, well, if I say it's dancing, it makes you wonder. So these steps, beautiful shapes, well done on this boy. Those colors are superb. And taking your time to leave the white. It's a very nice piece. It's called the cheap seats. So I'm not sure who's got the cheap seats, but maybe it's going into I was going to say first a circus, but it's some sort of event. The next one is called Alice Spinning Tales. Look at all of these things going on. It's a very somewhat, I would call it a complicated painting. I say that because to pull this off, you have so many different shapes, and this was hand-drawn and designed. It's not from a photograph. It's from someone's thinking about what they're trying to say. They connect this road. So there is a road that Alice is following, the Cheshire Cat. Of course, we recognize Alice, and it's a nice interpretation of that book. And the colors used are just really awesome. I like the way you use the blue for the connection and the strings, and of course the gold key. So it's really a nice piece. It's one that has to be looked at and enjoyed, not one you just pick up and glance at. You got to take some time and look at all the things that are going on, all the way down to the mushroom and that heart there. This is looks like on rice paper. It's called Moon Over Chicago. It could be any kind of paper, but I would suggest it's rice. I can't tell whether it was stained or when it was wet, whether it was painted then, or it was probably a combination. It was painted while it was wet, so the paint goes into those cracks. A beautiful shape you have here, a V shape, and repetition of lines, really like that. And then you have these yellow shapes. So, and then you have what looks like possibly a moon. You look at this, you get to, I like the way, didn't tell us exactly how to interpret it, but enough to suggest that these are probably buildings, could be waterway, with the cracking of the paper, even suggests there might be, these could be limbs. That's really a nice piece. So the next one's called Ruffles. Nice yellow plant, contrasted on a blue, dark blue background with green. And it's very bright and catches your imagination. The next one is called St. John's Sunrise. Of course, the clouds are amazing. So you look at these clouds, just a beautiful combination of softness on the edges, knowing when to make the edges hard, and allowing the paint to mix. The color combinations are a delight. You have this lovely horizon line, and it suggests, because it's not straight across, it would suggest it's a lake or some waterway, that it comes closer to you along here, another waterway right behind here. If this were an ocean at a distance, that would be a perfect straight line. So just little things like that, and then the silhouettes with the fence. So it's a really beautiful piece. The next one is called St. Augustine's Lighthouse. Everybody has probably seen that or seen pictures of the famous lighthouse. All I can say is you took a lot of time getting those bricks painted. This is a very detailed piece, very difficult to do. The clouds are really, really nice, the way you allowed the mixture both of hard edges and soft edges on the clouds and sky. Just enough shadow on the lighthouse, and it picked up a little bit of the color of the sky. So it's a nice piece, could almost be a postcard, and it's nicely done. The next one's called Joyride, and that it is. It's probably my grandkids or some grandkids going down the slide one Saturday morning, and This piece is so nice and soft. It's parts of it, it's almost pastelish. Took your time, and the expression of the boy's face, you could tell, holding the younger sister. I mean, there's the story. I'm already putting a story together on this. And I like the way maybe you put, it's either salt or you left a little bit of texture here. And it wouldn't be a decent painting without this shape over here, this dark contrasting shape. And that's a nice painting. The next one's called Autumn Whisper, and it's really a nice piece. It definitely says autumn. And the bird, I like the bird in that you picked up that color in a couple other spots of the bird, which I think was very crafty of you, very smart. And these lines, some places you really took the time to make them detailed, other parts they're just suggested. So it's a nice piece. No Matter What is the title of this one. This one is one of those that's very difficult to do, in that you have so much going on and so many things can go wrong. Protecting your white, and this shape where it meets this shape means that parts of that was wet on wet. So you got that going on, and you got this wet on wet going on, and you got this going on, and then you're blending it, and that's a very degree of difficulty, and at the same time protecting your white. And so it's just a beautiful piece. I love this lighthouse. You didn't put it in the center of the painting, which, thank you. It brings me more interest. This line just takes me right there, and the setting of the bird adds to it. So the next one is called Bird of Paradise. We've seen this done a number of times. And again, the orange against a contrasting background makes that nice. The this is called On the Vine, and you can see these beautiful colors. You took advantage of the opportunity, or took the opportunity of getting these beautiful colors, and then the ones in the back, you have the same colors, but they're just very washed out, which gives you a nice three-dimensional look. So that's really a nice piece you've done there. This one's a hard way to win. This one, golf paintings are always very popular. In this area here, just beautifully how you did this, because of the lines, you protected that shape. There's violets in here and blues for the shadow. You left those areas. You weren't afraid to leave the white spaces, left enough white in the pants, and the use of people. A lot of people that try to just go too much detail back here, and it says it all. It's a beautiful piece, nicely executed. I like it. It's well done. The next one's called Plein Air Distraction. It is an artist painting in plein air. I like the way you left the white spots, suggesting some texture and possibly light hitting those areas. That pot is beautifully done. I like the way you offset the subject off to the right a little bit. You didn't put them right in the middle and made them big. You're telling the story of a beautiful setting, a sunny day, with this beautiful shadow. It's not just a gray shadow, but colorful shadow. Got maybe a bloom in there, but that happens easily. And the way you left that use of light, so beautiful layering, nicely done. This is called Crossing Over, and looked at this twice. I'm thinking that it possibly is either a rusty car or you took lots of license. It's a nice piece. You can see these nice cool colors against these warm colors. Nicely done. The next one I like a lot, only because you first look at it, a lot of artists say, well, this is a piece of cake to do. It's not really. So you look at these, laying down, probably the first thing, laying these washes and allowing them to mix in the background for your sky. And not just using ordinary colors. It basically, this painting has yellow and violet or blue. I mean, that's it. And but look at all the warmth and the contrast you get by just using that. This would make a beautiful study for students in a classroom, showing them how you don't have to have the full color of your palette, and then this dry brush that comes off for the moss. A beautiful way of doing the moss and not too much detail. This is really a beautiful piece. Desert overlook. This one's interesting in the form of what colors were used. You have these cool colors, and then you have these very drab, muddy colors that you might see in a desert. So you have this warmth, and the warmth is pretty much in this area, so everything else is supporting. And you have these slats or rocks that are across here that the lizards are sitting on. It's a nice piece. The next one is one that where you come in and say, well, anybody could do that, and actually you can't. The colors and the intention of getting those shapes and lines and even leaving some white space. This is really a nice piece. I don't do abstracts whatsoever or do impressions somewhat, but most of mine are pretty realistic. But I like, if you look at this, you have this yellow box, and if you look closer, this yellow is moved and taken off and placed on here. So what that suggests, it may not be a yellow box, but in fact it might be a doorway into something. So you have this suggesting that it's a light source. Oh, the name of it is called Portal of Light. So anyway, that's why it's probably called that. The next one is a very nice piece, the way that you, like a photograph where you change the f-stop so the background is soft and out of focus, which gives you a beautiful texture to shine and really make this beautiful white gardenia, looks like, or I don't know, it's a flower, and it's called In a Winter Garden. Beautiful piece. This is a spring dawn, and I like the way you put the yellow and of course the different shapes. You broke it up with a leaf, and you broke up this with this area. Had you done this without putting this in here, it would just not have been the same painting. The next one's called Temple of Discovery, and this one is a very Greek. It almost looks like it's done with gouache. And when you use gouache, you get get these intense colors that are very, not intense, but they're very bold. And that's not the word either, but they're heavy colors. And if you look closely, I like the clouds, but what I like is the tint on the sides of these pillars, and it's a greenish yellow tint. And with that gray, it just is beautifully done. It's really a nice painting, and the subject matter is moved a little bit to the left. It's not poking me in the eye right in the middle of it. And the perspective of looking up, and so it draws your attention, and the clouds all draw your attention to these beautiful shapes here and these colors. I like this one's called Morning Orange. It's very realistic. They've taken their time and been able to look. This is an example of having the ability to see the colors and shapes. I teach a lot of watercolor painting classes. What I've learned is that a lot of people can't see these things. I don't know why. They just, when they go to paint that, they don't think to form these shapes and think about these colors. The blend of these colors are very nice. This is an area that most people would not have painted this way because of the fear of going muddy, but it's a cold area. Yeah, just a little bit of red and a little bit of orange over here to break that up. And the spoon is nicely done. So that's looks like a grapefruit spoon. But I think these are oranges. So it's a nice piece. I like the way you set the, you crop the plate so you don't have a plate right in the middle. and everything is nicely composed, well done. The next one's called T-Rex. I do a lot of portraits, and so this one, caught my eye only because, again, it's the use of violets and the use of yellow. It may be burnt sienna, and you can see how soft these curls are, and just enough attention here where they painted this. This had to be more of a wash, on wash, and then not worried about, there's a line across here where, so this artist was able to step back and see these shapes, just this little area here of having the white, the reflection, and on the cheek is a big deal. And the other area a lot of artists miss is the reflection on the bottom lip. So you got the nose, and usually the shape of the light on the nose is like an exclamation point, comes down with kind of a dot on there. And then, so attention to the color, the background's nice and soft. So it's really a nice piece, I like it. And next one is called Light in My Path. Simple done, looks a little bit like a gouache, and nicely done. You guys a little bit out of proportion, but it says a nice story with this V, all the attention going off to the upper left, and everything is not just cast in the middle. Not afraid to use these grays and lay those down, and and build up those shapes to where you get that overall look. Nicely done. Next one's called Pandemonium. I don't know why it's Pandemonium, unless the person is named Pam, but they've got a little bit of these two stains, the way they've formed a nice shape here, really nice. They call them stains because when you get that darkness on the edge, usually is caused by a blossom or using it as a stain. Light in the background, beautifully done. I love the shape. The tension is over here. Lots of color, lots of different colors. And the only probably area I need to work on is this area right across here. I'm not sure if that's sand or something. This is hard to do, this area right here, of getting that edge right and with water. But it's a really nice piece. This one's really cool. I like it. I love, first off, a different shape and size of the painting watercolor paper. And colors are very contrasting. We got the blues and greens contrasting against the reds and oranges. And a beautiful piece. Just love the flow of it. The next one's called Nurture. And this is really a nice piece. Again, it's you lay down this wash, come back with this other wash that gives you just enough faint of the person. The person may be holding these flowers. These colors are beautiful. This is just an absolutely beautiful piece, nicely done. Next one is called Woman in Red. Again, we know why, because the red. Just a beautiful job done with the colors, the composition, just a beautiful piece, nicely done. The next one's called After the Bath. So it does have some suggestions of, you see this bird kind of getting ready to probably shed some of the water, the way the contortion of the body is. I love the background, how soft it is, and goes down into this brown, the shadow. The attention is right here. That's where that beak is kind of going back, getting ready to change the position, to shed some of the water after their bath. Nice piece. Garden Party. This is a delightful piece. Obviously, these are not real birds. They may be a metal piece that actually are created, and probably they're changing colors because of aging. But you took advantage of the texture, and they're probably, my guess, more brown, but you made them red. Putting that against the red and then with the blue pot makes for a beautiful piece. Just really a nice painting. The next one's called St. John's River, and it's a nice piece, great color, horizon, nicely done with just enough silhouette to suggest something. And I love these shades of color that you put on here, and you let the light, those shades come through with the plants. This one's called It's a Crest Levi, and this is a beautiful piece. This person really had some thought. Be interesting to get in this person's brain. Probably got to be very interesting. And if you look at the detail, first off, of just the eyes, taking the time on, then the other parts, no detail. So this is an example of knowing where to get the detail. What would be interesting in is how this person got the white stars or the white shapes of like the snow that's falling. So it's putting on the mask and quite a story. The stem cell or the vertebrae, the beautiful colors. See these beautiful colors. Just a beautiful piece, nicely done. This one's called Old Shoes, and they look like old shoes to me, so well done. Sometimes you can fly. I like this. I like it because of the composition and the imagination by putting this flower, and it suggests everything is just flying. The flowers are flying, the butterflies are flying, everything is just in movement, and the colors are beautiful. The texture on the person, just really delightful. Nicely done. This one is Florida Cracker, and that's another name for like a Florida cowboy. And these colors are just gorgeous. Just can't say enough nice about this. This wonderful shape. Instead of making a sharp line, you made it interesting. This glow behind, even the white with protecting around the face. These lovely, just gorgeous colors on the shirt. Instead of just painting a white shirt with grays and all that. Wonderful choice of colors, beautiful blending, nicely done. This was called Glorious Menagerie. I think that's what I'm reading, yeah. And this technique is just really quite cool in that putting that dark negative painting behind this makes these flowers just pop out. And for those of you who are new at doing florals, I want you to take a look at this, and it makes a nice study for moving this nice light cream color, greenish blue, and then down here these color, and then the dark behind this with these lines. It's just a absolutely beautiful piece, and it's a great study of doing a still life that's unusual. The way it's cropped, there's just not a couple flowers sitting in the middle of a table on a tablecloth. This is really interesting art. It's a beautiful piece. The next one is called Ready to Roll, and anyway, I like this. This is some hats and the approach that you took by painting these hats, and inside these shapes and colors that are embedded in the hats. This is a cool piece. It's almost like a painting over a painting, and I know a lot of people who do paintings over paintings, and this is if it is, this is a nicely one done. This one's very bright, colorful silhouette, Sounds of Silence, beautiful colors. The silhouettes aren't just black. If you look closer, these are colorful. And I know, with my students, when I talk to them, instead of just making a shape, make it interesting, put some color. It reads similar, but it gives a different overall feel than just if you'd taken a dark black or a brown or made those silhouettes. By making these have color in them, just gives a totally different look. Nicely done. And then we got Desert Canyon. You step back from that and say, wow, what a beautiful set of pastels and colors. It's a delight. This person took a lot of freedom, took a scene and just said, I'm going to have fun with the color. It's well executed. This is an excellent artist on technique and the way you've done your layering, the way you've set your design up, beautifully done. Like it. The next one's called Orlando West Wetland at sunset. And it's painted just enough to tell the story with beautiful colors. It's just a remarkable piece of work. The way they just put just enough of this, see these shapes, instead of overpainting and just overworking it, just lay those nice shapes down and let the eye. This is one that you let the eye, the viewer, kind of decide how they want to interpret it. The next one's called Mercado San Miguel. I'm sure this is a deli, probably in Italy, maybe, I don't know, who knows, it's got to be Spanish. But anyway, here's what I like about it. So you have these cold colors that are the background. So we set up a background that's pretty cold. As you come forward, it comes warmer and warmer. So you get to the greens, and then you get these greens, and then these reds, and then you have this red. So, and then you have the lines that actually split this up. I think the artist intended to do this, but then what happens is with these beautiful colors, especially that face on this cold color, just makes that pop. It's a very busy painting when you first see it, but then the overall impression is a nice patterned painting and lots of duplicating lines. These lines are very important to the composition, so it's a nicely done painting. I like this because of the simplicity. These are shapes that are laid down purposely. This would be one shape laid down. The brush has red on one side and probably light on the other. Just this person knew what they were doing. Just a beautiful piece. This next one's called The Reader. I like it, and I like the way the artist left the white to really make it emphasize the light coming in and the colors that were used. This is just beautiful. I even laid a little orangey in here, and gets a little. The colors get a little bit soft or kind of not very strong in here. So what happens is the attention goes here, and then this line here fading out, it brings it here. So you first think, well, this is the attention is here, but actually for me it's here because of where the lines and because of the color. If they wanted the attention to be here, these colors would have been a little more bright and intense. This is a nice painting called Dreamy. It is a very dreamy, I'm sure they named this after they finished it, because you look at it, I looked at it too long. I can really easily take a nap just because it's soft and it doesn't drive emotion. It's just a nice, beautiful piece of peaceful lake setting. I like it. And then the next one's called Let's Get In, and reminds me of my local swimming hole when I was growing up. Not too many swimming pools at that time where I lived, and this would be the local pool. So beautiful way you've done your blues. You got a little touch of the green in there, just enough. And I love the use of saving your whites, just beautiful. This is really a great painting. And the springs, another one, very similar, the way it's application. I like this light coming through here, very intentional, like these three lines here. The attention tends to go over here for me because of these lines. It's just a very, very nice, I don't like the word nice, I don't like it, but judges call my paintings nice. I would say it's one that's well done, beautiful. And we have what I consider Linville's Falls #1. I love to see #2 and 3. But this is Linville Falls 1. So simplistic, just letting water and paint and paper do its thing. And it's just a beautiful piece. And You just allow that, there's water, let that water run on your paper. Let those just go over those areas. So you lay those colors down, you weten it, and just let those run. With a little help, dab here, dab here. It's a really nice piece, nicely done. This is called number 2. Like I said, I'd like to see number 2, and maybe there's number 3. Again, the use of letting the water do the work. And this is not white, which is really great in that protecting the white on the stones gives that intensity of sun and light hitting those rocks this way. And the splash up of your eyes just make you want to think this is splashing. There's all kinds of soft water. Even look how beautiful this area is. Of letting the water and paint do your job. This is the kind of painting you may do 10 times and maybe one of them comes out the way you like it. Maybe this artist got it right the first time. It's a beautiful piece. And then I think it's the last one. Pedronal, and this is a different scene. This is a use of using blossoms to create the suggestion of energy or suggestion that there will be some shapes. It looks like here you might even have some shapes or fog or something, but all this is very texturized. It's a beautiful composition. So nicely done. So what I'd like to say is these 80 paintings are just a delight to see. It's going to be a great show, and I'm looking forward to coming there, and I will be judging it, making the awards. And I hope the comments help and encourage you to keep on painting.